Hello and welcome back to the Fastest Podcast, where we cover everything from the greatest overtakes to the fastest pit stops. I'm Jazz, and today I have with me Dogra and Pigeon.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi everyone.
How are we doing today, guys? Weekend off? Kind of.
I mean, India is currently, very festive right now. I came back from a festival celebration, and there's festival celebration going on at my workplace as well. So, I'm having fun.
Yeah, I'm just
Max
enjoying...
racing today?
I enjoyed that. I was about to say that. No F1, sadly. We did see Max Verstappen in action on the Nürburgring, which was pretty fun to see. It's a different format, but still good to see that he's also quick in other series as well. I was enjoying that for 4 hours straight.
Did you watch all of it?
Most of it. I must say, even though the 2025 season is kind of boring, endurance racing is not really fun to watch per se, but the data side of it is more interesting to see the gaps and kind of see how those evolve, and then eventually who gets to be the winner. But it was still fun to watch. You see the gaps and you see the lap times, and it's pretty fun. Yeah.
I'm just loving the Verstappen side quests. Bro's so bored of F1. He's just doing other things now.
It's not, I don't think he's bored of it, but he's more like, done with it. He's an underdog. He doesn't need anything else.
3 more
I think
titles,
this is. I mean, I think this is just him. Rather than going onto the sim, he's just going to a track. Because if he hadn't gone to the Nürburgring, he would have just been on the sim racing. So, and this is also a good way to introduce F1 fans to other sides of motorsports as well, which I think is lovely to see.
Well, on the topic of F1, today we were going to be talking about the 2025 rookies and the season that they've all had. I've got here in front of me the kind of rookie standings as it happens. I'm a bit surprised, actually, when you look at the numbers in front of you. I'm surprised at some of these gaps. I mean, Antonelli is kind of leading the rookies with 78 points, which I think is quite impressive considering, the slump he's had in the middle of the season. And then he's followed by Hadjar with 39. But then you get the V-carbs in the mix with Lawson as well, 30 points. And Bortoleto only has 18. I thought the gap between him and Hadjar would be smaller. I don't know why I thought that. But who do you think's having the best rookie season?
Definitely Hadjar. You can't forget that Antonelli is in a Mercedes. So,
Yes.
And it both works for him and against him, because it works for him because you are racing with the top 8 in most of the races.
Yeah.
So you're facing a bigger challenge than most would. And then again, you're also being compared to Russell, who is, in my opinion, one of the top 4 drivers of the current year. After the McLaren and Verstappen, I think Russell is having the best season of his career. At the moment, he's putting that car on the podium more times than I would have expected him to. And then as an Antonelli, you're being compared to him as well, which is pretty hard.
You've also taken the Sir Lewis Hamilton seat.
Yeah.
I mean, he's in a Ferrari, so let's...
No, but I mean in terms of, those are big shoes to fill.
Yeah, that too. I did really like to see him in P4 in Baku. He had a really strong weekend in a weekend that no other driver really managed to put together, other than the podium finishers.
Yeah.
And Lawson, of course, we have to give him credit as well. But Antonelli kind of went under the radar and still managed to finish P4. Impressive finish from him. And I think that's really what he needed as well, because Toto had been kind of bashing him in the media about not performing well, and then he just goes on, does his thing. One of the hardest weekends of the year. Everyone's making mistakes, not Antonelli, just putting it where he needs to, and even out qualifying his teammate, which is pretty impressive. I'm still saying Hadjar though, because he is in a lesser car. He's managed to put that car on the podium with a great qualifying and race. 39 points, as you said, is still pretty good. It's very good. And he has been very consistent until Monza, I believe. He had no Q1 exits. So that's about
Yeah.
15 races
Yeah.
without a Q1 exit. That's impressive as well. P5 finishes, P4 finishes. He just puts that car consistently into a place where it really shouldn't be. Um, that's nice to see. I do believe that Bortoleto is pretty close, because if not for that podium, then they would pretty much be equal anyways. So yeah,
I was
I
actually
want.
expecting the gap between Hadjar and Antonelli to be a bit lesser because I feel like Hadjar has been, in my opinion, has been outperforming Antonelli in terms of the car to the position ratio because a Merc in top 10 is not as surprising as a V carb in the top 10, which, and we've been actually seeing Hadjar pull that off quite a lot more than, well, Lawson. Kudos to Lawson. He was plays very well at Baku, but I feel like Hadjar has. I mean, he's gotten the biggest compliment that he should, from his, inspiration, Lewis Hamilton. He's been quote unquote called legend by Hamilton, which is big. When you look up to someone and they call you a legend, that's just mind blowing for you. So I feel like in terms of the entire um I mean I agree with Pigeon in terms of the season. I feel like Hadjar has had the best. Lawson doing very well after coming out of Red Bull. Antonelli, replacement for Hamilton again, still putting up quite a fight. Bortoleto putting that Sauber in top 10 quite a lot, which is, again, a very big feat to achieve. Same thing with Bearman, putting a Haas in the top 10 frequently. I think this rookies this season have proven themselves to be quite the challenging force, except maybe Colapinto. But I don't hold it against Colapinto right now. He did do well in the Williams. I think it's just the Alpine that's just holding him back.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with pretty much everything you both said. I do want to come back to Antonelli though, quickly, because kind of before the summer break, you have Toto Wolff defending that boy with his life. He was very vocal about, he's only 18, he's 19 now, but regardless, he was only 18. The car's not where they wanted it to be because of their upgrade package, went a bit sideways. And now on the other side of the summer break, Toto's been quite vocally critical, which seems like a bit of a U-turn to where he was in the first half of the season. So my question is, points aside, because he is in a Mercedes, not to say he hasn't done well for a rookie, do you think that he could have done with another year in F2 before coming up to Mercedes?
I think that can go for any other driver. They could have spent more time with the junior series before coming up to F1 to get more experience. Or because again, experience is always good. But I feel like Antonelli is able to also challenge. Sure, like it might be a bit overwhelming at first, which is why people it's he has an excuse to not, I wouldn't say excuse to not perform well, but when he doesn't perform well, we know why, because it's way too overwhelming for an 18, 19-year-old. But by the time he reaches that, 2022 age, he'll be ready and for the challenges that F1 has. And I feel like it's it's a big gamble that Mercedes is taking, and if Antonelli can take the challenge, then he might come out to be, as Toto Wolff calls it, the next Verstappen.
I mean, some people did say, oh, they should have brought Alex to Williams and then put Antonelli in the Alex to Mercedes, put Antonelli in the Williams. I don't particularly agree with that, because I do think that going into the new regulations next year, it's probably essential to have someone, whoever you want in that era, you probably want them on your team beforehand. But I mean, yeah, it does raise the question of, was he promoted too early? There's been a lot of kind of outside criticism from Mercedes in terms of, oh well, he will be ready. Do we want them in F1 not quite ready? Is that the whole point of a rookie season? I feel like this season particularly, we've had a lot of debate around what is a rookie season. You're seeing it with Colapinto as well. There's a big debate around that. So where do we draw the line? Pigeon.
I mean, you're talking about having the rookies and whether they are or not ready. Where has the time gone where you have a rookie in a car and have them just gaining experience without any pressure on having to get points? If you would have a 17-year-old Verstappen jumping into a car right now, you'd expect him to be on the podium. That shouldn't be the case. I mean, we have 6 rookies this year. They've all set the bar so friggin' high.
Technically, about 7.
What is or isn't a rookie these days is not the topic of conversation in my rant, anyways.
Alonso.
I was thinking Doohan, but Alonso, I'll take Alonso.
But it's crazy that we're talking about an Antonelli who has been on sprint pole in a Mercedes, but still he has had some great performances this season. And we are talking about him underperforming in what is essentially a qualifying championship.
Yeah.
And one of the most tight-knit fields we have ever seen. Because Q1 is often separated by less than a second. So if you're missing 1 or 2 tenths on, I don't know, P5, you're out.
Yep.
Dependent on the track anyways. So why don't we cut these guys a little bit of slack? It's supposed to be an introduction season anyways, before the new regs. We're still talking about having very talented young drivers getting on their feet in F1. And it's not just the car that they have to learn how to maneuver. It's also the media, social media, how to work within a team, getting up to speed with your team on how to build that car, which is crucial for next year as well. Those are all things that they have to really learn how to do. And if we're just going to hound them on, oh yeah, you're not scoring P5s this season, and what the hell are we doing?
I mean, I think it's also to say that we can't be expecting them to perform next year as well, because they've come from F2 to a completely different F1 car, and now they're going to have a completely different F1 car next year. So we can't be like, oh, it's your second season in the sport, you should be, on the top step. It won't work like that. I think most of the drivers that we might not even see Norris or Piastri on the top step next year. No, we have no idea what's in store for next year. So expecting this much out of rookies that are just came back in, and I mean, just came in, and they're already dealing with 3 different cars in 3 different years. I think we have to you have to give them time to adjust before we expect fucking mind blasting performance from them. So yeah.
I mean, I think this is a good segue now into the Colapinto debate. We've talked about it recently on the podcast. What the hell is going on at Alpine? Who is Briatore going to get rid of next? It's, I think, an interesting one with Colapinto because, like you were just saying, Dogra, the fact that next year with this sort of chuck the pen at myself. This batch of rookies that we have, we won't be able to necessarily be too harsh on them next year because of the regulation change. Now, with Colapinto, he did half a season in one team. He then gets kicked out, sent to Alpine, where the whole season has been not, is he going to last? When is he going to get kicked out?
Yeah.
Now, how is that not kind of the same issue? Why have we expected him to come in from half a season in one team to a completely different team, completely different car? Why did we expect a championship drive from him? I say we, the wider, F1 community expected him to come and do amazingly well at Alpine. It hasn't happened. I don't think it was ever gonna happen. So what do we do about that one?
Yeah, I mean, the whole Colapinto thing is just very off the. It's just sad for Colapinto especially because I think he performed well when he was substituting at Williams last year. He did quite well there, and now he's just facing so much criticism. I feel like that the entire criticism, it's bordering on hate at this point for some reason. But it's unfair for Colapinto to be thrown into Alpine and then being expected to perform where even Gasly is failing to score points. So I don't think it's Colapinto's fault. I think it's just Alpine having a meltdown.
I mean, you shouldn't forget that Colapinto has been thrown into that seat halfway. I say halfway, 6 races in, but he's had like 10 races so far. He's put in a car that is absolute trash compared to the rest of the field. Gasly has scored 20 points this year, and I looked it up. Bahrain, which was a pretty crazy one, P7. He got 4 points in Spain, which was also a pretty crazy ending, with Verstappen and Russell. And the rest were mostly just P10s. And, he got P6 in Britain, which was the crazy race of the year. But he's managed to capitalize on key points in the championship where you really could score points in any car because it's strategy or weather. We saw Hulkenberg get the opportunity to get onto the podium in those races. Colapinto has not had any experience in an Alpine. Gasly has 2, 3, 4 years at this point. I'm not sure. Please don't sue me. Gasly has years of experience in that car. He knows how to kind of work around the kinks. Colapinto's still learning how to drive an F1 car. So, yeah, as you said, the narrative has been when is he going to get kicked out? I think F1 has become a little bit too comfortable by cutting drivers' contracts short and cutting them up midway through a season. Just give them a full season, and if they don't perform by the end of the season, then just say, okay, we've tried. Let's get you in as a reserve driver or help us with simulator data or whatever, or just ship them off to a different team. But don't cut them through halfway through the season because that's just horrifying. I mean, Red Bull does it, and apparently Alpine does it as well. It's so destroying for a driver's confidence to be sacked halfway through a season. And I love to see that Lawson has recovered and is putting in these drives because it could have very well been the other way around, where he didn't recover and he's just kind of in this downward spiral. But yeah, let's not normalize just swapping out drivers. It's not.
This is
really...
the funniest thing to me actually about Colapinto, because this is his second year in F1. He'll be in his third year in F1, and he still won't have. I mean, if he does, but he still won't be having a full season under his belt. That's a ridiculous start as an F1 driver. Imagine having 2 years in F1 and not having a full season under your belt. How would you explain that to someone?
Ask Lawson. He also got put in 2023, I believe.
Yeah, but
and then 2024 halfway through,
but
and then
he has
in 2025 he has a full season now. But Colapinto hopefully will have that next year, where he finally has the full season. And still, Lawson got swapped around as well this season. So,
yeah.
But yeah, let's not normalize that. I think it's so unhealthy for drivers' confidence to just chuck them out, chuck them in. You know, it might not be much, but you still have a seat in F1 if you get swapped around. But it's gotta hurt, you know, to have a team say, yeah, let's try it in a different seat, rather than, okay, how can we help you?
I think there's been a lot of discussion in the paddock this season about, you know, contract length with the rookies, and you know, we're seeing, like you guys are saying, we're seeing them get sort of moved around, and you know, some people will argue that they have so much talent coming through that, okay, if you're not performing in the window that we expect you to perform, someone else will be given that opportunity, because there are so many young drivers coming through all the time that will never see an F1 car because wrong place, wrong time. So I suppose that's kind of the argument for teams, especially Red Bull, you know, with their driver program. It's probably the most, at this point, the most well-known one, purely because of the turnover that we see. You know, the argument will be, you need to perform, because otherwise we've got 20 more where that came from who will do anything to get in that seat. So it's an interesting one. I mean, even Toto Wolff, and we will come on to 2026 seats in a second, but even he said about contract length, and I think this is probably aimed at both of his drivers at the moment, but, you know, he's kind of said the performance that you bring to the team should not depend on how long or short your contract is. Now, some people will say with someone like Colapinto, when you are literally every race weekend saying, you know, perform or you're gone, perform or you're gone, some drivers will thrive under that pressure. You know, we've seen Lawson bounce back. Some of them really won't. And that's kind of a mentality thing. So I don't think it's necessarily helpful, the amount of stuff that we see in the media around this topic, because I don't think you can treat all drivers and all contracts the same. Some of them will perform better under that pressure. Some of them won't. They're a bunch of young guys who have come up through very intense circuits. You know, they're not all gonna react the same way to everything.
I do believe that when you say Toto Wolff is commented on the contract negotiations, I do believe he was also addressing one certain Dutchman, who he is very keen on signing, hopefully, in 2027.
I think he was actually addressing a certain British man who should be very wary of a certain Dutch man. I think that was what that comment was about.
No, but still, I think because Russell, obviously, he's number one driver. He wants that certainty of having a seat for the coming years.
Yeah.
And if Toto Wolff still wants to get Verstappen in that seat, he cannot have both of those, because that's like, you know, getting a nuclear bomb in the office.
I think it's made pretty clear at this point that they've got Antonelli and they do not want to let him go, because they think that he will be their Max Verstappen.
Yep.
at some point. So that no team is going to turn their nose up. Bless you. At Max
you.
Verstappen. No team is going to turn their nose up at Max Verstappen. He has free reign to pick wherever he wants to go, and those team principals will make their driver disappear. If he wants that seat, he can take his pick. So that leaves our boy George Russell out in the cold. He's obviously going to try and secure a long-term contract, whereas someone like Antonelli will probably, at this point in their career, be operating on shorter contracts. So no wonder we haven't had any announcements from Mercedes so far this season. Mercedes, especially in their George Russell era, they love a summer break announcement, and George is sat on his yacht and he's about to go swimming and he's signed his papers and he posts it on Instagram. We didn't get that this year. I don't think it's a coincidence as to why. I think there's a possibility Singapore because of, you know, the season's ending. So what do we think about that?
We still have 6 races.
Still have 6 races.
But,
I say Singapore.
I think this is going to be end of season announcement if they're going to announce him.
Don't you think that's crazy?
Because they're talking about contract length, not whether he's going to be in the seat. So, and also there's not a single seat available in 2026 for Russell. That is, because he's not going to go to Red Bull, he's not going to go to VCarb, and he's not going to go to Alpine.
VCarb's looking pretty good right now.
Yeah, they're gonna add Russell to their Red Bull Junior program. That's what they're gonna do.
Can you imagine George Russell and Helmut Marko having a conversation? See, I think
Marco is too old for that shit.
I can really see, it makes really perfect sense in my head, Verstappen and Toto Wolff. That really makes sense to me. But George Russell, I don't even think I could compute seeing him standing outside the Red Bull garage. It doesn't make sense.
Nah, Russell to Ferrari.
No!
You just want to see drivers burn in hell, don't you?
What's happened to Ferrari?
I mean, I don't see that happening. I'd see him retire before that.
You know what the funniest thing is? If I try to imagine George Russell in a Ferrari suit, it just doesn't bode well with me.
This is the thing. Optics really don't matter at this point, but I just can't see him anywhere but Mercedes. But I just think it's absolutely insane. You know, his performance this year, his performance in the last few years, and he hasn't been officially renewed yet. That is just, like, at this point in the season, it's unheard of. Okay, Antonelli, he's still a baby. You can take your time on that one. But George Russell, the actions are speaking very loudly here. That's all I can say.
But which
is rare for Russell because he usually uses words only.
Wasn't there a contract spat between Toto Wolff and Russell? Because Toto said that they're going to give him a 1-year contract, but Russell wants a multi-year one, right? And then
that's what we're saying, yeah.
Yeah, there were some comments flying out, which was pretty thought-provoking.
I mean, George is kind of the one that let the world know that Verstappen was talking to Mercedes. That was probably supposed to fly under the radar a little bit.
No, knowing Russell, it really wasn't.
No. I mean, the fact that was happening probably wasn't supposed to be public knowledge.
Yeah.
But George wanted everyone to know that the reason he's not had that confirmation yet.
Yeah. What I don't get is, and I'm pretty sure they have thought of this possibility, why not sign a 1+1? I'm pretty sure it was on the table at some point. But
I would assume they've probably discussed that.
they would have probably thought of that. I mean, it is Mercedes, But knowing that, it would also be pretty obvious that Russell turned that down. Because he doesn't want to have the option to be re-signed. He wants to be signed for multiple years. Like Hamilton is starting to regret right now.
I could see him at Aston Martin.
So you want him to replace Alonso then?
Those were not my words.
Inadvertently, yes, they were.
No, I
He
don't.
is getting
I don't.
old.
He's still a rookie.
I don't want him to replace Alonso. I can't say much more on the matter. Actually, I'm bound ethically.
Yeah.
But I just think, I don't know. All the other contract disputes that we have, all of the other unconfirmed seats that we have for next year make sense. They make a lot of sense. This one, to me, doesn't. Aside from, I mean, we know why. We know what is happening. But it's the one thing that I just think is just crazy. Something's broken there, and they don't want us to look too hard at it. I think George has kind of done the whole just ironing things out thing. Toto's too busy saying everything's horrible, we're really bad, and Antonelli's a child. So they don't want us to be looking too closely at this. But I think, his heart is set on Verstappen for 2027.
Yeah, I think it's just about having the option, because there's no driver, I believe, that is currently beyond 2027 signed, other than
Piastri?
Max at Red Bull, which is ironic. The
Gasly
McLarens.
Alpine.
Piastri.
Gasly was just renewed, but once again, no one's going to go to Alpine voluntarily at this point with that car.
I think for him it's just, again, having a seat in F1, because again, where's Gasly going to go?
I mean, let's give him some credit as well. Gasly is doing an amazing job.
Oh, in that
car
definitely.
is not good.
Yeah, and they're going to get a Mercedes
Last year he put it.
engine.
Yeah, that too. I mean, I think the problems are still in the car itself, not the engine. But
I think Alpine's problems come from all directions, but yes.
yeah,
Or
first of
just
all,
directions,
no team
Directions.
principle, which is a pretty good one. But it just brings me back to the Colapinto conversation. Let's not try out any new drivers until you actually get into 2026.
Yep.
Because now you have drivers who have all kind of have a season under their belt. They know how it works, and I said this before already. They know how to work within the team. They know how to give feedback. They have built some kind of relationship with the engineers, the technical departments, on how to give feedback, how to say what is wrong about the car, and they can kind of bring that into, if they were to switch any teams, into a new team as well. If you have to bring in Paul Aaron now, which was most likely the replacement for him, he hasn't really competed in F1. He's done a couple of practice sessions. He's done the test, but not really much else. So let's just not bring in any more rookies until halfway 2026, and let's do it then. Because who knows? Maybe we finally get to see some racing action in 2026. Probably not, but we can hope.
I am hoping. 2026 seats. Here's the kicker. Tsunoda. I don't want him to go. I fear he's gone.
Yeah.
Had you asked this before Baku, I would have said yes.
That's the thing. That was going to be my next point.
Because there was a story going around where the team was celebrating Verstappen's win in Monza, and they did the Red Bull spraying with everyone. I don't know exactly what's in those cans, but You've seen the clips.
I
And
know
they asked
where
Yuki
this is
to
going.
getting closer to the frame, and he said, no, I don't deserve to be here. And that's a clear sign of a lack of confidence in my book. But then he rocks up in Baku. He puts that car in P6, and he finishes that car in P6. His best result of the season with Red Bull. And that is, again, a pretty nice to have on your results
based on current
for
form.
2025.
Yeah.
Yeah, but still, we have seen Verstappen getting more comfortable with that car.
Mm-hmm.
We have now seen Tsunoda getting a pretty decent result in a track that is difficult.
Yeah.
We've seen Piastri make mistakes. We've seen Ferrari being a complete mess with strategies and those kind of things. And Tsunoda kind of just did his own race. He didn't make any mistakes. He didn't have any difficulties. He just did his race, finished, and that's it. We're going to Singapore next. If both Red Bulls, or even if just Verstappen can have that car be pretty good, that's a really positive sign for the rest of the season. And I think these final 6 races could really, I wouldn't say make or break it, because I don't think he's going to be in the Red Bull next year. But it could be the deciding factor between VCAR or no seat at all. Because once again, you'd want to have someone with F1 experience in that car. If VCAR next year is a good car, I could see Tsunoda on the podium.
On the topic of VCARB, I'm going to throw some more names into the mix. Even though we've all just said that we don't want rookies next year, let them cook as they are. There is a possibility that, it's a horrible possibility, that we see Tsunoda dropped, Lawson dropped, Hadjar up to Red Bull, and
That's
in
a demotion.
VCARB. Sorry?
That's a demotion.
It's a demotion. Most definitely a demotion. There's a possibility that we will see Lindblad, which we expected, and Alex Dunn in VCARB.
I know for a fact that Pigeon hates that idea.
Oh, I know he hates it as well, but that's the rumor.
I can't deal with this right now. I don't think that 5 minutes is enough to portray just how much I dislike Dunn as a driver. What I will say is he's quick. I
So
do
we're
not at
asking
all
for-
agree. I don't agree with his racing tactics. What he did in Monaco for multiple times was not okay. He got off really lucky with that one. He's been pushing people off track regularly.
He fit right in at Red Bull.
Kind of getting away with it. I don't think that is the driver that we need at the moment. Lindblad is more calculated in that way. Also, I do not want to see Lawson and Tsunoda demoted.
In
they are
this
both
scenario, they're not demoted. They're gone.
I mean, I do not want to see them gone as well, but I don't think that Dunn will make it into VCARB anyways. I don't agree with that rumor at all.
I've just heard that Marco's interested, and when he wants a
could
driver,
very well be. But I mean, do we really want a second Stroll on the grid? But this time within the top 8?
yes, I think that would be very entertaining.
That's going to be Ferrari's worst nightmare. Jesus.
Well, that's just the rumor. In an ideal world for me, Yuki gets another year at Red Bull. Hadjar and Lawson stay where they are, and Helmut Marko does not ruin another child's life. That's kind of all I'm asking for at this point in the season. But
I'm really, really interested in seeing how that promotion talk goes with Hadjar. Like, I have good news for you. Oh, what is it? Well, you're going to go to Red Bull next year. Oh, and is that good? Well, you're going to be pretty much beaten at every single track for 24 races, but yeah, that's pretty good. You're in a Red Bull. Congrats. Now go out there and set some good lap times or you're gone. I don't agree with the way Red Bull is running things either. swapping people, as I said, so nonchalantly. I don't think it's correct. Even though Verstappen was put in a Red Bull midway season.
It worked one time. It worked one time.
It worked. I'm not saying that it works every time.
No. I think we can all agree on that.
Yeah.
I mean, the only rookie that we didn't cover, just to circle back really quickly, was Ollie Bearman. I mean, he's had a expected season. He's
Haas
P19.
isn't that good.
The Haas is not that good. You've got Ocon, who's just scrappy like that. He just cracks on with it. And the fact of the matter is, I think it's not unexpected. He's P19 in the championship. There's 21 people in that championship. So fair enough. It's kind of where you'd expect to see a rookie in a Haas. I think we've seen what he can do in a more competitive car, which we saw last season. So he's not done anything remarkable, but he's got 16 points on the board. Respectable.
I mean, we're once again talking about how tight the field is. If you go from Doohan with 0 points, and it's going to stay at 0, of course. So if you go from Colapinto at 0 points, all the way up to Hadjar with 39 points, that's a 40-point gap. And Bearman has 16 of them. 16 points. That's not nothing.
No.
He's put in some really great performances. I just think it's being undermined by the bad performances he's had. And not even on track. It's the incidents. He's had 4 penalty points applied in Silverstone for crashing in the pit lane, however that might have happened. He's had little battles which kind of went wrong for him. He got the 2 penalty points in Monza for some reason. And he's pretty close. He's pretty close to a ban as well, I think. I do think that some of those points will get gone after Brazil, because he did pick up a couple of points when he was filling in for Magnussen last year.
Yeah.
So if he could just ride it out, she should be fine. But once again, we are expecting these rookies to have great seasons. It's their rookie season. Let them make mistakes.
Exactly. I think with Ollie specifically, just because he's not quite in the same, I suppose Bortoletto's just slightly ahead of him. They're kind of in that same league. And we've seen them both put in really solid performances. They're getting their elbows out. They're trying to race. I think they've both had very solid, respectable seasons, what you'd expect. They both deserve to be there next year. So, and I don't think that's under threat anyway. We've had both of them confirmed for next year. It's just that darn Red Bull team that we just can't quite work out. And Colapinto, but that's a whole separate issue. I think that's everything from us today. We will be back midweek next week with our Singapore preview, where we will be looking ahead to the Singapore Grand Prix next weekend. In the meantime, you can check out our socials and keep up to date with everything that we've got going on. We've got articles going up on our website all the time, so we're always around. So thank you so much for joining us, and we will see you next week.
Bye.
Bye-bye.